So I'm not really sure what inspired. This gum is so good. I'm finna spit it out because I can't talk. Okay. I'm not sure what inspired me to do the, well, I know what inspired me to do this video, but um source energy just inspired me to come forth with a video as it pertains to something that we as a collective of individuals have in common in this time frame, in this season, in life, really. And one thing that has played itself out since the beginning of traumatic times in terms of experiences. And that thing I know well because I have experienced it as well as everyone else, but I think I've mastered the terminologies of it more so in my latter years. And I understand it well enough. And that thing is fear. Now, why this particular video popped up in my mind frame or in my spirit to do, I don't know, but I think it's going to help somebody. I think. So, fear. What is fear? Well, the Webster's definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that something or someone is dangerous or likely to cause pain or threat. Fear. So, I noticed that I needed to come up with as many conundrums of ways of expressing wisdoms and knowledges that was helpful to other individuals as I could and to be as creative as I possibly could. Okay? So, fear. Now, if we're honest, if we're going to be completely 100% honest, we all have things that we fear. We all have experiences that are fearful to us. We all have a root of something, someplace, somewhere, someone that has been a fearful experience to us throughout our lives, okay? This is something that we have in common. So, I like to think of it as the accumulative emotion that blocks the ability to conceptualize outcomes as we'd like to see them. So, I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about logic and I want to talk about emotion as they go hand in hand in terms of the left brain and the right brain perspective. And I'm going to talk very slow because I talk really fast sometimes. I'm from the South, okay? But so I wrote something out. And I drew it out, and I don't know if the camera can see it correctly. I should have did the camera the other way. But now when we think about logic, right? When an experience takes place that is fearful, or that is an experience that is mentally capacitative in our logic, what takes place is the perspective of logic, the idea of logic is, how do I put it? The idea of the logic, when something is fearful or a fearful experience, logic is a bit canceled, or logic is a bit stressed. You feel me? Now, the logic aspect is the left brain. And the left brain, the logic brain capacity communicates to the right brain, which is the carrier of emotion, right? So when a fearful experience takes place, it causes the endorphins of the brain to cancellate the perspective of logic, right? So the left brain loses the propensity of endorphins that will require an individual to use the emotion in a particular situation, right? So then once the logic perspective has experiences a cancellation, that is, there's a fearful experience, boom, there's a huge dog that's about to bite me, boom. Logic can cause an individual to freeze, fight or flight, and or do nothing or do something that is not accumulative to solving the actual solution for the actual situation in that very, very single moment. So then what takes place when logic experiences a blockage is there is a blockage from the left brain wave to the right brain wave, which is the receptor of emotion. And then once the receptor of emotion is blocked from the equatability of logic, then there is a manifestation of whatever emotion that has been blockaged from the perspective of logic. Example: when I was incarcerated, right, I noticed that now faith comes by hearing, right? Boom. Faith comes by hearing, right? Boom. Okay. So typically, things that we are fearful of are things that is either told to us by other individuals, something that we've seen, something that we've heard, something that we've experienced, or we've seen someone else hear or seen someone else experience per se. So I noticed that when I was incarcerated, there would be a lot of fear-mongering experiences. The guards would come and say something to people like, hey, it's finna be a shakedown. If y'all got any contraband, if y'all got anything that you're not supposed to have, we taking it. Now, one person would hear that experience, and it probably wasn't even true. More than likely, typically, probably wasn't even true. This is a example, nonetheless. But it was probably more than likely not even true. But individuals would take one person. I will watch. I'm an observer of people, places, circumstances, and things. I would watch one person take one small piece of information from one individual, not knowing whether or not it was true. And one person, because faith comes by hearing, right? One person would take that information and carry it to another individual in a non-logical stance that is perpetuated basically upon fear. Then that person's perspective or that person's speech takes and carries that very same energy, and it affects the emotion of another individual, and that individual takes that very same energetic logic and fear and carries that same emotion and manifests it throughout an entire perpetuation of individuals and or thoughts. So all it takes is for one negative emotion in terms of a fearful logic that blocks the endorphins of the brain to be able to receive receptive information as it pertains to how to survive in that very single moment of being fearful. Then the emotion, which is the manifestation sector of the brain, remember, the right brain, the emotion, the manifestation sector of the right brain then carries the manifestation of an actual circumstance, situation to the actual logic of a situation, and it's a repetitive cycle, right? So then fear is received in the logic left brain perspective, and it carries out, it blocks the ideology of the ability to emotionally equate what is taking place. Then emotion is manifested throughout the idea of whatever the fearful experience is, and then it recreates a repetitive cycle. I said I was going to try to talk slow. So we hear a specific thing and become fearful of it, which cancels out the ability for the endorphins of the brain to work through the propensity of logic. Then that creates a blockage to the actual emotional sector of being able to work out the perpetuation of a fearful situation. And then that emotion creates a manifestation as it pertains to whatever it is that we are fearful of. it is like fear is like a mucus to the left and the right brain wave perspective, because it causes blockages as it pertains to the ability to work through the idea of manifesting a separate outcome. And I don't know, I am on a high, my vibration is so high right now, and I'm trying to dumb it down so that I can make it so plain and so simple and so equatable as it pertains to people, places, and things and situations alike. Because I notice that as we are in this very time frame, we are in this time, time alignment as of right this moment, as a people, as a culture, as a third dimensional density right this moment. We all are fearing, we all are experiencing something that is equatable to something that could possibly be fearful situations to us. It's natural. It is a timeline. It is experiences that has to play out in these timelines as it pertains to universal karma of individuals. Now, how we work through these timelines is being able to work through the logic and the emotional perspective to be able to manifest separate outcomes as it pertains to what the reality is as time stands, as it stands right now, right? So if we manifest our reality and our logic is being blocked based upon the idea, because remember, logic is equatable to idealism. Idea, logic, idealism. Emotion is connected to logic, that is equatable to the emotional feeling aspects of manifesting the particular circumstance and or outcome. Fear is the divide, the dividend between those two brain waves having to work together to create a perpetuation of a circumstance that is opposite of what we see in that very instance of a time and an emotion. So what I'm really doing is, for one, passing along information as it stands, that is given to me solely from source. And then two, trying to figure out a way to incorporate this into other individuals' lives as I understand it myself, right? And hopefully am going to be able to do this for large entities who got a lot more money than me, who will pay me to do it. Okay. But so yeah, I might have to play this video back once or twice, because fear is one of those things where sometimes when we searching for answers, I noticed that some of the things that I was searching for answers in, I ran to things or people who wasn't in a perspective of a strong manifestative logic. So they were not able to help me work through the strong manifestative perspective of my emotions, which would have helped me to manifest a more positive logic. I love y'all. I'm probably gonna leave my email in my description this time. I never do that, but I'm probably gonna leave my email in it just so that individuals is able to shoot an email to me or whatever, what have you. I'm not even sure why Spirit had me do this, but I feel like it's going to help someone. And peace, love, and light. You know the deal. So yeah.